Blacks in the 1900s, by Nimesh and Ryan. Political status of Black Americans. Mostly blacks voted the Republicans because it was the party of Abraham Lincoln, who is known as the Great Emancipator. In the North, the black votes were taken for granted by the Republicans. But the voting didn't bring them great gains, and the vast majority of the Southern blacks could not vote.
Blacks and the law. Blacks were very frequently the victims of violence within the South. This is shown through the legal system, as most law enforcers in the South gave blacks very little protection, and the vast majority of Northern blacks were much better off, as despite lynching laws many went unpunished. This created legal inequality between Southern and Northern blacks. However, most of the discrimination and segregation towards blacks in the South came from Jim Crow laws.
Blacks and social status. Whites wanted to keep their status higher than the blacks, so the Jim Crow laws banned majority of the Southern public transport, churches, theaters, schools, etc. Throughout 1880 to 1900, many blacks were in ghettos which consisted of 90% or more homogeneous. The rents in ghettos were much higher for the blacks than the whites. By 1910, 7-room apartment cost for the working class whites was $25 and $37.50 for the blacks weekly.
Blacks and economic status. Many Northern whites feared competition for their jobs and housing. However, even if a black Northerner was more skilled and better educated, the white person would still obtain the job. In addition to this, Northern and Southern blacks had the worst and lowest paid jobs due to them having poor education. Therefore, the majority of blacks were stuck in a poverty trap.
There were many reasons why blacks suffered inequality in the 1900s. The federal government was unhelpful. Southern whites dominated local politics. Many blacks feared whites. They were poor. Most of them were not educated well. The education system, transportation and the police were controlled by the white government. During the 1900s, blacks were lynched without trials. The subject of racism was extreme. Moreover, Congress was filled with long-standing Southern congressmen who exploited the seniority rules to maintain a grip on the U.S. Senate committees. They also used filibuster tactics and alliances with Republicans to halt bills to help blacks.
Did the situation improve? Blacks had more opportunities. Although the 14th and the 15th Amendments were usually ignored, they remained part of the Constitution to be appealed in later years. This summed it up with the common black saying,
"We ain't what we thought to be, we ain't what we going to be. But thank God we ain't what we used to be."
Let's now look at the Great Migration. One solution for the blacks who were living in the poorest parts of America was the Great Migration. Over 6 million blacks from the South migrated to the North, Midwest and West between 1910 and 1970. The North offered many industrial jobs, and the First World War generated more jobs. This made blacks flood into cities such as New York, Philadelphia and Chicago.
In 1910, 89% of the blacks lived in the South. By 1970, there was only 53% living in there.
What happened during the migration? The influx of the blacks worsened the race relations in the North, so the Northerners joined the KKK. In 1911, Baltimore passed the first residential segregation law. After that, other northern cities also followed. Even the Irish, Polish workers in Chicago were against blacks. They helped the military and the police to attack black ghettos in 1919. Thanks for watching.